Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Divine Feminine Healers podcast. It is your host, Angelica Neri, intuitive healer. And today we're going to talk all about this new moon solar eclipse happening in Aries this Saturday, March 29th. I'm going to give an astrological update, what's going on the scene and the stars, and then I channeled 3 messages for my community. So if you're listening to this message was meant to find you. If you're looking for more specific readings, I've been doing intuitive card pulls for my community on my Instagram, going live on Wednesdays, Thursdays, sometimes both days, usually around 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. They've been so fun. So for those of you that joined in and join in every week, thank you for allowing me to read your energy. It's been a blast. And if you're like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard about this. I want an intuitive card reading. They're absolutely free. Just join in on my IG live, put your first and your last name, and I will channel the message that feels most important for you. And I will also pull a goddess card for you to help you work through whatever energy that you're working through and to give you some clarity. So joining on the fun. Follow me on Instagram at Angelica_feminine_healer if you're not already. Okay, let's get into this new moon solar eclipse in Aries. So first, with the astrological update, we are closing out eclipse season with this new moon solar eclipse in Aries. I talked about in my previous podcast the first eclipse and what that brought, and how we're in 2 retrogrades with Mercury and Venus both being retrograde. This is emphasizing how this time it has been going inward. This time has been listening to your intuition, gaining intuitive insights. And overall, a lot of our planets are either in the sign of Aries or they are in the sign of Pisces right now. Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, Aries is the first sign. So you guessed it, I'm going to tell you again. Endings and beginnings, transformation. This is the theme of the world that we live in right now, that it's going to constantly be changing all the time. So first, let's talk about this Pisces energy. We've been in a lot of this Pisces energy for a bit, and the planets that are currently in Pisces are the North Node in Pisces. We also have Saturn in Pisces. He'll be here until about until like May 24th to 25th for all my Saturn returners. We also have Neptune in Pisces, although he's moving into Aries on March 29th, which is huge because he's been there for quite some time. And that's a big shift for us. And we also have Venus retrograding into Pisces, which happened on March 27th. Pisces is the dreamer, the intuitive, the feeler. It also has to do with the past, self-sabotaging behaviors, old limiting beliefs, and letting go of karmic cycles. So a lot of us are really ready for the new beginnings. We're really ready to step into these new manifestations. And yet we're like, something's pulling us into the past. Something's still pulling us into these old behaviors and these old patterns. And it's not to shame ourselves when we fall back into them. It's a part of the process that happens of awakening to all the ways in which we're tethered to our past. So there's still this kind of acknowledgement and awareness of these cycles that we're tethered to, and being able to release them in order to move forward. There's also this theme of being able to tune into how it feels in your intuition, trusting that first and foremost before you take a step forward and you take action. I actually love this energy of Pisces and Aries. We've seen this theme play out with a lot of astrological transits this year, of being able to tune into your feeling and your intuitions, prioritizing that as your foundational layer before you're going to move forward and take action. Now let's get into this Aries energy. We have the sun and moon both in Aries, obviously. This happens every new moon. The sun and moon are conjunct because it starts a whole new cycle. The sun has been in Aries. Aries is all about being a fire starter, motivated, and related to the self, related to identity. Okay, how am I now pulling everything back into my body? And it's about myself and how I'm going to move forward with my desires and my needs and putting them into action. Now, as much as Aries can want to go like dive head first, like let's go, we know that we're still in eclipse season and there's still a double retrograde. So that's not necessarily the energy of, I know what my 5-year plan is. It's time to take those steps and let's go after it. There's something still being highlighted of, I need to stay in my intuition. I need to stay into my feeling body and then take action from that inspired place. We also have Mercury that's in retrograde in Aries right now too. So there's some type of communication that's happening around in Aries. This could be with Aries friends and relationships, but this can also be how you are learning to communicate in a deeper way wherever you're having Aries in your chart. So we all have Aries in our chart. It'll fall in one of the 12 houses, and depending on where we're have Aries in our chart is going to relate to those specific relationships. So, for example, I have Aries in my 11th house, and 11th house relates to community. And so, my Mercury retrograde is about deepening my communication levels with my community and the circles that I have in my community. What else is happening astrologically? We, right now, Mercury and Venus are both in retrograde, but in mid April, on April 12th, Venus will go direct, and then on April 7th, Mercury will go direct. This is when I feel we're going to start to see this deeper forward movement of really stepping into this Aries energy of, okay, it's time to take action. It's time to take more steps forward towards my goal and towards my visions. And then we will also have Mars moving out of Cancer into Leo on April 14th. And this is huge. Even though Mars has been out of retrograde for some time and he had a really long stint in retrograde, him moving out of the sign that he retrograded in and moving forward into Leo, into a sign that he's more akin to because it's a fire sign, it's going to be different. And again, Mars in Cancer is really depicting this energy of feeling and intuition, and then Mars rules Aries. It's all about being a fire starter, motivated, and passion, all those things. So we're starting to see action happening mid-April. But for now, we're in this in-between period of starting to emerge as our new identities. And this is going to lead me into the 3 intuitive messages that I channeled for today. And they really interweave into each other. So the first message that came through was where our old identities and our karmic cycles are tethering us right now. Like, how are we staying pulled into the past? And a common limiting belief that we are shedding right now is that my worth is in my work and my output and my physicality. This is a very old story that has run in our culture for so long. And those of you who are healers and intuitives know it very well. You know this is not the way forward, but it's so hard because the whole world is operating this way, and successfully. It seems like that's how you get success. So there's a lot of untethering that has to happen to it, but it's really understanding how you're relating to this belief right now and how you are releasing your relationship to valuing your to-do list and taking action before tuning into your intuition, before resting in stillness, before a lot of these feminine intuitive qualities, and then moving forward. So just recognize when that workhorse, boss babe energy is coming forward, and understand that as you shed it, you may feel quite naked because it feels so foreign to you, that you've held that mask on for so long. It could feel so uncomfortable. I too am shedding a layer of this, and it feels very uncomfortable to be in a stillness, especially as an entrepreneur. You're thinking constantly like, I got to be doing everything at once. But you know so well that that is not the way, because either your body had failed you or your business may be completely stopped because it's like, we're not going to move forward this way anymore. This is not the way forward. You are a pioneer in your community, and you have to show your community how to do it in a way that is sustainable, in a way that's going to benefit the collective moving forward. So as much as this time can feel quite negative, you could feel quite sensitive of like, okay, I don't have any mask on right now. Like, what's my identity? And for those of you who watch Game of Thrones, this was one of the visions that I got. I don't remember the cave that Arya went into. I think it was like the no faces one. And she goes and she's walking down the hallway, and then she sees all these like empty faces, and they don't have like any facial expressions or masks on them. And it's kind of like that. You're like looking around, you're like, I don't know what identity to put onto. Like, this feels so vulnerable to be out in the open and exposed and not knowing what mask that I want to put on and what identity I want to emerge in. Like, I want to just say I'm X, Y, and Z, and so that I can come out about it and have it be over already. But this process that you're going into, of walking into it, of trusting your intuition with every step forward and trusting into your feeling in your emotional body, naturally your true essence is going to emerge, and you're going to build your own identity. You're not taking on someone else's mask anymore. Like, that part of your life is over. There is not an identity that someone has that maybe you're going to just put on as your own. You are creating your own. This is an up level that you're going through, and an up level comes from connecting to your true authenticity. So trust every step forward that you're taking. If it comes from intuition, if it comes from deeply feeling and staying connected to your emotions, naturally your new identity is going to emerge, and she's going to be beautiful because it is self-created. I love that message. So don't worry about what is your next identity. It is going to naturally emerge as you release this identity as being a workhorse, and move with intuition. This next message has to do with romantic energy. It feels very nostalgic, and it feels kind of like your relationship to romance of being like fun and thrilling, but also like very deeply feeling like it's going to put you in all the feels is starting to come forward. So I kind of like got that brought back to like memories of high school and like watching like 90s romantic comedies. It's like that feeling. It's like a very familiar feeling, but it's a very deep and romantic feeling that's very fun and giddy. Like, you know, in high school, like romances, like they came and went. They were little crushes that you had all the time with different classmates or things like that. It feels very like fun and young, but also very nostalgic. So you may be pulled to certain things like that. Like maybe you are watching 90s rom-coms. Maybe you're reading books or poems that you read when you were in high school that like really put you in all of the feels. And almost like maybe you're judging yourself initially when you're like pulled to do these things, like it's kind of cheesy and you're kind of like rolling your eyes, but it's actually getting you in this beautiful vibration of romancing your life, and it's just fun to do. Like you've been in this state where things may have felt heavy and you may have not had like a lot of like romantic sparks, but you're learning how to fall in love with this part of life again, and romancing life and seeing this whole other world that maybe you've kind of like turned away from a bit, not intentionally. It's just that you were focused on different things like career and work, and now you're reignited with it, and it's making you very giddy and very excited and happy. So really lean into the 90s rom-com nostalgia vibes. That to me is like, oh, I love that type of energy. Those are like the funnest uh movies for me to watch, and lean into it however that's showing up for you. Whatever romance things, no matter how cheesy you think they are, it's actually working with your energy to up level you. And those of you who are calling in romantic partners, this is really setting the foundation for you for calling in your romantic partner. You're developing such a deep romance with yourself and your relationship to the world and to the beauty to the world. The more that you expand your capacity to see this, when that relationship comes in, it's going to feel so much better because now you've created the expansive vision to see how kismet this relationship is for you, like how expansive this really is, how much potential there is in this relationship, how much you could really love. It's deepening that well within you. So it's again this kind of theme of, well, who is that person? When's it going to come in? Like we want to just know for safety reasons that it's coming in. And this is teaching you to trust it's coming, it's on the way. And instead, you're doing the work right now to expand your energy so that you can hold. Like, this is big energy that's coming in. This is like a long lasting relationship that's coming in. So, your guides are working with you to expand this so that you can hold it, really appreciate it, soak up in all the joy and the love that's about to come into your world. And the last message, this is tying into a message that's been unfolding since the beginning of the year. One of the main messages to the beginning of the year was like, it came in pretty abruptly. It was like, you need to get on your mindfulness practice and just commit to it and stay disciplined to it. And that was a message that came up again in February and again in March. And you've been deepening your relationship with this mindfulness practice, whatever it is. And now it's kind of like you're going on to the mastery level of it. So if you just started meditating, doing Qigong, doing a mindfulness practice, whatever that practice is, you've been really consistent with it, which is amazing. And now you're starting to find the reason why you had to stay committed to it. And you're finding this like very deep connection to spirit when you're in it. So for me, I can really relate to this. In my meditation practice, I've been really deepening that and realizing the deeper that I go, first, it was just grounding me. There was so much anxiety that I had to release. And I was kind of just using it as an antidote to that. Then when my nervous system felt really grounded, I started to feel safer there, and I started to get intuitive messages. I started to connect to more of that side of my brain and start to live in more of an intuitive way. And now as I deepen my relationship even more, I'm starting to really connect to source consciousness, universe, God, whatever you like to call it, in a way that I've never connected before. That I'm building such a deep relationship. It's building this like well of unconditional love within me, and I'm feeling a total union with source. That's how I'm finding it. I know that can feel maybe more esoteric for you, but it's each of our relationships to the divine is so unique and authentic. You're going to use your own words. You're going to have your own relation to it, but it's a very felt experience, and it just feels deep. So allow yourself to really drop in those places. And this is the good part. This is like, I want to stay in my meditation practice like a little bit longer because it feels really good. Or like, ooh, I could stay in this yoga practice forever because like it just feels so yummy. Like allowing yourself to really taste the benefits and the depth that can really come from your mindfulness practice is like gonna click for you of like, oh, that's why I was called into this place initially. That's why I had to go through that anxious phase. That's why I had to ground my body, is because I needed this very unshakable connection to source, to the divine. So it could really bring this oneness and this union inside my body. Such a beautiful message. So don't be afraid to go deeper. Don't be afraid to really drop in and allow yourself to imbibe in the sweetness that happens in that mindfulness practice. Okay, everyone, those are my main messages for this new moon in Aries. And oh, and I wanted to leave you, I forgot. I also pulled 3 cards. So before I leave you, I pulled 3 cards, and these will help you give a little bit more guidance along the way. So one of the cards that I pulled was I free myself from critical thoughts towards my body and my worth. So this is very much attached to the first message of letting go of the identity of being a workhorse and feeling successful only if I'm working. So just notice those critical thoughts of you're resting. Why are you resting? You should be doing X, Y, and Z. And notice that inner critic when it's coming up. Meet your inner critic fully integrated into your being. Be okay letting it go so that your new identity can emerge. The next card that I pulled, it says, I love myself completely and unconditionally. This is so much tapping into that romance, vibey, nostalgia energy. Allow yourself to just really go there. Like dive full headfirst into that poem and just allow yourself to just imagine and vision and romance and be in that giddy, high school love phase that you maybe have not been in or allowed yourself to be in a very long time. And then the last one is play is my pathway to joy. So this is very much also tied to that nostalgia, romance, giddy type of energy. Like allow yourself to be a little kid here. Like play around, allow yourself to do things that maybe you feel silly doing that like I said, like you haven't done since you were a kid, and know that this play and sense of joy is expanding your energy. There is a purpose to it. Again, you're letting go of that identity of like things are only productive if I'm like putting forward like action and work. Like you don't realize how much play and joy is working to expand your energy to actually pull in this new identity and the things that you really want so badly in your life. Like your guides are like laughing at you. Like it could be so easy if you just allowed yourself to. So this is coming to you. You don't even have to worry about it. Like play and joy, that's your birthright. No guilt around it. Yeah, those are my messages for this month. I'm so excited for everyone. Seems like a really beautiful start to the month of April, and going into spring and summer. Like the vibes are electric. So I'm super excited for all of you. I hope to find you on my IG live Wednesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you love this podcast, please give me a comment and a rating on Spotify or Apple. I'd love to hear from you there. And I will see you all next time.